Trump is trying to destroy the First Amendment right now, and I'm going to explain why. But before we get into it, what I want you to know is that this is not a Democrat versus Republican conversation. This is not a conservative versus liberal conversation. This is about being a citizen of the United States that values their rights. And I'm going to speak out against something regardless if Republicans are doing something, Democrats are doing something. In most of my previous videos, you'll see me come out and I'll speak more from a conservative lens. And many people think that I'm a Trump supporter. They think that I'm a die-hard Trumper and stuff like that. But I give equal accountability, equal smoke. So I just want to say that before I get into it. So essentially what's happening right now is Trump is trying to figure out a way to imprison, deport, or criminalize the burning of the American flag. Now, for those of you who are not aware, the burning of the American flag is a constitutionally protected act. This has been voted on by the Supreme Court in the past, and this is something that the Supreme Court has said is legal. This is a form of political expression. This falls within the First Amendment, our right to freedom of expression, freedom of speech, right? And so one of the things that Trump is trying to do is figure out a way to pretty much get people in trouble for doing this. And he's asking his attorney general, well, we know we can't legally charge people with the crime for burning a flag, but can we charge them with something else in the act of burning it? So if they're burning it in public, can we charge them with public nuisance? If they're burning in public, can we say that they're, causing a public disturbance? In other words, can we circumvent the Constitution in order to get our way? Now, whether you're a Republican or Democrat, you should see this as dangerous precedent, because what that means, for example, is that if you're a conservative and you value your guns, you value your weapons, right? The right to bear arms. This is where Democrats could come in and try to circumvent that, which many conservatives, Republicans think they do by trying to require background checks and et cetera, et cetera. So let me give you an example that maybe will make sense on the conservative side, right? In the state of Texas, it's legal to open carry. This would be the equivalent of the police or the local government or the federal government saying, hey, we can't get them for open carry. But instead what we're going to do is say, well, you caused a public disturbance because people called the police on you. People didn't like that you were carrying that weapon even though it's legal, so we're going to charge you with that in a way to get people to not carry weapons when it is legal to do so. Okay? So you can kind of see when you go down the rabbit hole and start thinking about this outside of your political preference and whether you like Trump or whether you like the Democrats, you can see how this is a dangerous precedent. Now, I want to be perfectly clear. I don't advocate for burning the American flag. I don't think people should be burning the American flag. I don't really want people to be burning the American flag. However, I refuse to give the government my rights. I would rather people burn the flags and be able to do that and have that protected than the government tell us that we cannot do it. And here's the crazy part. You have to be careful with people's rights, because there's probably not that many people that want to go out and burn the American flag, but you start telling people that they can't do something that is their constitutional right, see how many people start burning that flag just to show you they can. Just to show you they can. So Trump, you got to be careful, bro. If it's really about you not wanting people disrespecting this country and burning the flag, you have to be careful, because you are not above our constitutional rights. You are not above the constitutional rights. The people that support you are not above the constitutional rights. It is our constitutional right to express our political beliefs. It is a protected right. So I would back off of that if I was him. I know you promised your base that you would try to get people deported for it or get people in prison for it, and that there should be jail sentences for it. And look, I think most people will agree, most Americans will agree, we're not celebrating people burning the flag. We don't really want people burning the flag, but it is our right to do it. It is our right to do it. Like, have you ever seen those videos where the dudes are walking around with the guns and they got the gun over their chest and the gun on their back, and they just walking around waiting for the cops to come and say something to them so they could talk about their rights and stuff. That's what you're gonna have with flag burning. A normal person, they're not typically walking around displaying their weapon, doing all this, flossing their rights, if you will. But you start testing people and telling them that they can't do something, that's when you're gonna see more of that activity. Believe me, that's when you're gonna see more of that activity, because I'll tell you something right now. I don't want to burn an American flag. I have no desire to. But if you stomp on my American or my constitutional rights and you tell me that I can't, you might see me doing it. You might see me doing it. Not because I want to, not because I believe that we should disrespect the country, but because, like MLK said, maybe if this was China or a different country, things would be different. But this is America. We're supposed to have these freedoms. And when you don't stand by the freedoms because it's not what you want or some political angle, that's where there's an issue. And I think ultimately that's what being an American is about, is saying, hey, there are certain things that as just an American we should want to protect. And protecting your First Amendment right, protecting the freedom of expression, political expression, that is worth dying for. So let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you think that burning the American flag should be illegal? Do you think people should go to prison for it? Or do you think, hey, I don't agree with it, but it is a protected right and people should be able to do it if they want? Let me know in the comment section. I can't wait to see what y'all say.